Okay, so this is another quick speed edit, I guess, of another Fiverr request I got. And even as I'm doing this, I am super fucking high. So let's see if we can do this in one take. And the reason I'm high is because I've been fighting with the customer service team at Fiverr over verifying my identity, and it's frustrating. And I'm probably going to make a video on it just because it is so infuriating and I'm mad. Anyway, so right here, what's happening is I was looking for a picture. Actually, I was setting up the stream first, and I set it up wrong because I didn't connect my mic, so I was silent except for DMCA music throughout this whole stream. Yes, this was live. It almost doesn't matter. But anyway, so this was another friend of mine who was just, being a good dude and trying to support a fellow artist. So they didn't give me any prompt. But I knew kind of what I wanted. Like, I had an image of a head and what I wanted. And I actually had already kind of done some line work, so I'd already written like most of the poem. It needed a little bit more editing, which I actually do like on screen kind of. And but yeah, so at this point I'm just looking for a specific photo, and what I really wanted was the poem itself, as we'll see in a little bit, kind of has to do with like the intersection of nature and modernity. So what I really wanted was like a shot of an alleyway, something narrow, kind of like this, so Venice, but with like some kind of obvious like growth and vegetation. And so I'm flipping through a bunch of photos trying to find like something that fits. I saw a lot of this. There's actually a place in Denver. I grew up in Denver, and there's an alleyway that like captures this perfectly. It's like a little side alleyway. It doesn't have a dumpster in it like a lot of the alleyways in Denver do, but it's like this weird little side thing, and it has a bunch of ivy growing up it. It's really cool, very aesthetic, and again, it's it's an alleyway. So that's kind of what I was looking for, and part of the reason is because the image is what I wanted, but also I knew what I wanted the graphic elements in this one to look like, and I wanted to have what I call in this in the stream little secret messages, which again we'll get to when I find the right one. But this is what I ended up settling on, because again, you have like an alleyway, but you have some growth and vegetation coming in there, and again that will be thematically appropriate in a little bit. So here I was kind of just looking at it, and I was trying to decide, like, do I want to cut? So that's a friend of mine. If anyone has watched any of my Stardew Valleys, that's actually Dweegu. So I was trying to decide if I want to cut Dweegu out, and I decided, yeah, I don't, I don't. I'm gonna be selling this. I don't want to be selling someone's likeness, so I am gonna blur her out. And I was kind of debating back and forth did I want to try to remove her entirely, or did I want to like just blur her out? How did I want to do that? I ended up deciding to make her a shadow. So now I'm kind of planning out how I want the text to read, given the picture I've chosen. So the places like the sky and the doorways are where I'm going to have secret text, and the main poem itself is going to be kind of off to the right hand side and swooping down. That ends up being a bit of a problem. But this is kind of what I was kind of looking around and fiddling with it and deciding, again, like, making sure this is really how I want it to look and that kind of thing. Once I had sort of settled on it, I'm really bad at GIMP, by the way, if I haven't like made that obvious and made that clear. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I wanted to have this reference, and I also wanted like the original photo, and what I should have done initially is when I was doing all those doodles, I should have put it on a separate layer, but I didn't because I suck. So here I am fucking around with the scale a little bit. I ended up, it's still like 11 by 8.5 ratio, where it's 11 tall and 8.5 wide, except I went up, so I increased the size proportionately. So I think it ended up doing like, oh god, 37 something, and then like 44. So alright, here I am doing a really shitty cutout. I did make it on a different layer at least, thank god. And here I am just trying to highlight like all the shadows and everything. You can't really see her face, But again, I just, better safe than sorry. So yeah. And I could have done the paint bucket fill, but I'm glad I didn't. And the reason why I'm glad I didn't is because that hand, I ended up keeping it. I thought it looked kind of cool and creepy. And then I decided to keep that hand. So what I'm going to do later on in the video is I'm going to, see, I'm kind of going back. I'm going to fill in the void, basically. This void that my friend is taking up with text. And it's, we'll get there when we get there, but long story short, I'm gonna turn this shadow into something other than just a blot there. So I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna keep the hands, it looks kind of cool. It's obviously a person, but now that shadow has hands. Cool. Getting rid of the ear, cleaning stuff up, realize it looks stupid and decide to brush it out a little bit. Yeah, so step 1 is done. Now I'm kind of looking at it, and I decided that I would want to put in the text first to kind of lay it out properly, because I knew I was going to distort some of it. I knew I was going to be warping the shape and things like that. So, and I also want to make sure I had good, you could read the text pretty well. This ends up being a big problem, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Now, you're gonna watch me learn how to appropriately fucking do this. As you can see, I had copy pasted and it made this giant line. Well, it's not as obvious here because I break it up a lot, but I learned a lot about the text feature in this particular project. That little box, I'm pointing to it, but nobody can see me pointing at it. Remember, I'm super high right now. The text box with the 4 little squares on it, if you actually highlight your, and I'll do this a little bit later in this video, but it goes by pretty quick. But if you highlight, you can kind of adjust the size of the box, and that will automatically change how the text in it lies. Figured that out maybe a bit too late, but I did get there. I got there. So, yeah, this next part really, I forgot to bold every single fucking time I started a new text box, because I thought it would just, it carries over the font and the size and the color. So I was like, oh, it'll remember to bold it. Nope. Every fucking time I had to rebold it. That's stupid. Yep, I just forgot it again. So I was not inebriated when I was doing this project, by the way. I was just tired and in pain. So nothing special there. Yeah. Oh, what was I doing here? Oh, I didn't like how that phrase was going. Basically, I thought it was kind of cliche. I think I said something I was trying to talk about how the man-made structures that we have are not permanent. So if you're feeling a particular kind of loss from nature, that I think a lot of people are feeling right now, not even just because of the pandemic. I just think it's a common problem for modernity. So anyone who lives in the city like I do, it's really easy to lose touch of nature, and some people don't care consciously, but it is actually better for humans, psychologically better for us if we interact with nature at least occasionally, go for a walk, whatever. Stop being a basement troll. I didn't mean to call myself out like that. Anyway, so yeah, so the line was something this glass is glittering dust or whatever, which is a pretty image, but it's kind of a cliche image. So I ended up going with, what did I end up going with? Oh, those towering windows are dust. And again, you could easily apply what I typed in this poem to a more suburban environment. But I was really thinking of a city, really, a big city, a busy city. There's, like I said, it's really easy to kind of lose touch with nature, and the person who I was writing this for I think that would kind of bother them. I know it bothers them, so I was writing to my audience, basically. So here I am, just kind of messing around with how I want the text to lay out. I knew I kind of wanted it to curl around the right side, I knew I wanted the bottom to be bigger and wider, kind of like how it is now. And I decided that I wanted everything to kind of flow, like to increase in size. And which is fine. That's great. I like how that works. I play around a lot here with the spacing. And this is something that, like, this particular kind of poetry, when I'm doing poetry like this, the thing that always takes me the most time, personally, is the fucking formatting. I fiddle with formatting so much, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or if maybe I'm not a good poet because of it, or whatever, but it's just my reality. The way a poem is laid out on the page, to me, is interesting, but I also think it's kind of important too, which is why I fiddle so fucking much with it. It's so fiddly. Yeah, so like I said, I knew I wanted it to kind of expand down. I'm kind of messing around here with trying to make it legible. I was worried it wasn't legible. Now, something to keep in mind is that, like, if someone were to print this out at original dimensions, it's, yeah, like 30, almost 34 inches, it looks like, by 44. Like, it's huge. That's a giant fucking poster if you want to print it out that bad. But I'm also, like, aware that, you know, I don't think my friend was going to print this out on an industrial printer. If they print it out at all, it will probably be, you know, it will probably be with a more standard printer. Maybe they'll do FedEx or whatever. So how it views and how legible it is really important. Now, along with the legibility, I wanted the text to, I decided I wanted a gradient. This is a Cocoon. I did like it. And I went about this all fucking wrong. Everything I'm doing right now I did wrong, so just ignore it. I tried to do a color like, actually, I think I didn't even do color select. I think I did like an outline select. And the problem was that, you know, Cocoon's a different color from black, so I couldn't just select, you know, do a color select on black or whatever. It was stupid. So I'm fiddling around. I decided this is the kind of gradient I want. And the problem is that it's kind of hard to read near the bottom. So those towering cookie cutter houses are not built to last. Those towering windows are dust. Yeah, that whole chunk right there is kind of hard to read. So I'm fiddling around with the color. I'm tried making it a little bit darker. And then I decided I want to do a shadow effect. And the way I do shadow effects is bad and wrong. And I really need to teach myself how to do it properly. But basically what I do is I take a copy of the original text and I'll either increase the size a little bit or I'll just offset it a little bit in either a darker or a lighter color. So that's what I'm doing here. And the problem was that, like, it was fuzzy. So you can, it's one of those blink and you miss it kind of things, but the outlines were not crisp. They weren't fuzzy, or they were fuzzy. And that just did not help the legibility at all, especially because a lot of this text was distorted. So it doesn't, like, look perfect or whatever. I was kind of okay with it here, but you'll see me come back to it a little later. I'm actually kind of fucking around with the layers here to try to make that cookie cutter section easier to read. Yeah, so again, we'll come back to this. This is a reoccurring problem throughout this video, and it was quite frustrating. So now I'm looking at, I was kind of messing around and looking at layers. I was trying to, this was another thing I tried to do, is again, it looks almost like a fucking glossy thing, and the reason why is just the way I selected it, the way I made the selection. Like, you can even see it there. It just looks like shit. It's just awful. And so I reduced the radius and I reduced the threshold. Again, I'm trying to make those lines a bit crisper, and it is going to be difficult. I'm working with curves, and not just any curves. They're curves that have been distorted. I finally do color select. Yay. So I don't have the fucking bullshit with the insides of the O's being fucking missing, but I'm still having this fuzziness problem. I was really fighting with it, and it's a little bit better, but here I'm kind of like reading it, and you can see, like, it gets fucking muddled. It's not so bad, like, one side of it isn't so bad. It's just, but it's enough that I felt like it was a little bit too difficult to read. And when you're selling a poem online, like, that's kind of a fucking problem. So here I am trying to, I was just really trying. I thought maybe if I made it all the same color, that would help. It spoiler, it didn't. So I started getting really frustrated, and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I did do this thing where I flip the gradient, I think. Oh no, here I'm just like trying to make everything much lighter and easier to read, and yeah, I did flip the gradient, so now some of the back shadow, if you will, is lighter, and then it gets darker on the bottom. Again, like, it kind of helps, and it's kind of a cool effect, but the bigger problem is that the middle is where I was having the most issues. So here I am again. What do I have? I've got the paintbrush on. I'm trying to go through and like clean it up a little bit. Rather than, do the gradient now, I'm trying to use the brush, and that created its own problems. You could see places where I missed it, and it was a production. So I'm back here, and I'm still having problems reading this, and I'm like, fuck, what do I do? And I think I decided to kind of like step away from it for a little bit. I was just looking at what I wanted to do for the secret text. So what I mean by secret text is I wanted there to be another reference to how to navigate, being in an urban space and still wanting or caring about or feeling disconnected from nature. And I actually wrote a little thing. Hey, look, I forgot to bold it again. So again, what I'm doing right now is wrong. But basically I was like spacing it out, and yeah, there, I figured out how to move the box around, guys. Like, I did it. It's fucking dumb. The other thing I did that was stupid, and I end up having to go back and correct, is right now this is all justified to the right side. That was a bad idea. That was dumb. That made it really difficult to set this up how I wanted. But this is text that I took from something I wrote a long time ago when I went to my hippy dippy school. And the title of the text, it's very short. It's like a paragraph, not even, maybe like a couple really short paragraphs. It was rituals to honor nature in urban spaces. And it was basically like, you can kind of see them here. Looking up at the sky when you're sitting at the bus stop, or uncovering flowers that get covered in the snow, taking time to appreciate dandelions that pop out from the cracks in the sidewalk, or, stuff like that, little things. Like, things that at the time for me, it's like, yeah, my world is urban and I really miss nature in general, but I can make it not so bad. Little things. It's kind of a difficult feeling to describe, like, where you want to be involved with nature somehow. Like, there's a deep part of me that's, wants to run away to the mountains or the ocean, both, and like live in a cabin. But that's not necessarily realistic. So anyway, I fixed the justification here. It wasn't working, and I was mad, and I was like, fucking goddamn it. So I fixed how it was justified. Now it's justified center, which was easier. I am also making the text a lot smaller. I wanted it to have like this ethereal feeling. I wanted it to be light. You'll notice it's a different font style than the other text. That was on purpose. I like Times New Roman, actually. It's probably my favorite font, and I'm such a nerd that I have a favorite font. But there you go, Times New Roman. It's great. It's got them little feets, and those feet make it easier to read. And also, like, every single paper I ever wrote, which was a lot of papers, I was in a lot of classes that required deep, heavy research papers, and yeah, every single one of them is written in fucking Times New Roman 12, 1.5 spacing. So, anyway, why am I fucking talking about typeface? What the fuck? I need some fucking chips or something. Oh my god. Anyway, one take. We're doing this in one take. I'm not doing this over again. Yeah, so I'm fucking around. I wanted this text to be, like, yeah, transparent, floating around in the background. It's not the main attention. It's not the main thing you want to see. It's just something else that, depending on how you read this text and depending on how you look at it, it's kind of cool. Like, you have these two different, similar but different ideas kind of melding together. Yeah. So that's what's happening. It went by too fast. I can't really read it, but like, I don't know. This is something I do feel strongly, weirdly about. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next secret layer. I'm calling them secret text layers, so that's what we're going to keep calling them. Let me get rid of these leaves. Let me get them out of the way, because, sure, aesthetics. I feel, okay, I'm being really cavalier in this. I'm saying like, oh yeah, I'm just doing it for the lulz. That's not really fair. These two texts that I'm pulling from, the one that I wrote for Scott pretty much freehand, and then the others that I'm literally pulling text from, I like how, and you'll see it more appropriately here, but I like how when you put text in an unexpected place like this, or in like an unexpected shape, you end up with wording that you wouldn't normally get to see. So like the text in the sky, you can read full sentences in it, but there's things that are missing, that are covered up by the buildings, or they're covered up by the trees, or they're cut off a little bit. And that's kind of what's happening in the store too. So looking at the sky, see what they're waiting, the bus, sometimes in the sun, sometimes the moon, sometimes stars, and sometimes clouds stained all colors. Like, that just sounds cool. Like, that is not, just reading that is not something I would think vines in walk cracks. Like I know what that's from, I know what the original text says, but seeing it laid out like that, that's a kind of unexpected type of poetry. There's a particular kind of poetry, if this is something you're interested in. I love Joan Redelac for this, but it's like random chance poetry, or random, you use random procedures basically. And the way I think of it is this: I have text, right? You know, the original text, and I am forcing it into an unusual, unexpected space. And when I do that, even just the simple action of, I'm literally just gonna lay this text over a shape, and I'm gonna make it fit as best I can, and we're gonna see what we get. Like, it creates, especially in this one with the legs, like, it does unexpected things that I think are cool, and I think make interesting poetry. I don't know what I was doing here. I think I was looking something up. Oh, I think, actually, so again, this was live. I did this live. I streamed it live, and I was listening to music, and I thought my mic was on, so I was talking about what I was doing, and I was also talking about the music. So one of my a song that I liked came on, and it's a Japanese song, so I don't know how it's like, I don't know how the title is pronounced but it's by an artist called Daoko, Daokao. And I think the English title is like Goodbye Goodbye or something like that. I'm actually gonna pull it up right now. But yeah, Goodbye Sayonara. Yeah, so anyway, I was looking up the lyrics for it because I was explaining to the chat that, again, I didn't realize yet. Can't fucking hear me. I'm like waxing rhapsodic about this fucking Japanese song, which is a good Japanese song, and I will link the music video for it in the description. But I'm talking about it, and it's so stupid because, again, spoilers, by the time I get to this video, I realize my mic was never on, and this was all a waste, and I swear to God, if this recording wasn't recorded, I'm gonna lose my mind. So yeah, back to legibility. Being random and cute and quirky is fun, but, like, you have to be able to read what the fuck you wrote. So I'm literally going back through here, and I'm kind of just cleaning up some of the edges. Not a lot. It really doesn't need to be a lot. Just that little bit can be enough just to kind of help the eye understand what it's looking at. So it's not perfect. I definitely would try to do this a little bit differently if I did it again. Here again, I'm trying to be clever. I'm just not that clever is what it boils down to. I ended up cleaning up a lot of the shadows, like really reducing them in their size and shape and everything. And it looks better. I still think it's more legible. I am still not happy with where it says cookie cutter. Like, it's too close to color on the background. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of messing with the levels of the background, trying to keep like the vibrancy of the picture, but then I have the problem up in the sky text because I merged all those layers like an idiot. So like it's difficult for me to like color match, and I was just like fuck. So I was struggling. I was struggling. Um, yeah, you can, like, again, part of me was like, this is intended to be a huge poster, right? It, like, cookie cutter, those words, those letters would be like 2 inches tall. You'd be able to read it. I really wanted it to be a little bit better, and that's probably the one thing I'm disappointed in. But, this is it. This is the end. So now that we are at the end, I do overall really like this product. I like a lot about it, actually. This is a little bit, pearls that I did was fun in that it stretched me out in terms of GIMP, because I don't know how to use GIMP that great. But this is a little bit more like what I would do for my thesis. So I don't think I did a super amazing job of reading the poem last time. So now I am going to read it because I have it in front of me. I'm not going to read the secret text unless someone wants me to. But the poem is, your hands are shaking from your work. You think you've lost the touch of creek beds, heather meadows, and mountains bigger than you know what to do with. The city folks get fooled by innovation, by our industrious concrete, our little pop-up strip malls, our cul-de-sacs going nowhere. We give in to the materialistic lie that all we are will be used up, wasted, like water on grass-green lawns. Urbanity is a shell. Go out on a rainy day and find the worms wriggling up from the cracks. See the trees that we planted send their saplings spidering through sidewalks. Pluck a dandelion and blow a wish in defiance of the HOA. Cookie-cutter houses are built to fall apart. Those towering windows are dust. This is a cocoon. So, yeah, there we go. We're done. I hope you like it. I hope you appreciate it. And like I said, I'm going to do a video shortly about how Fiverr fucked me over. So if you would like something similar, don't go to Fiverr. Email me. Send me a comment. I'll make you a poem. You can be mildly internet famous. Okay, thanks. Bye.